are. My name's Luke Lucas, and we are at the 58th edition of the Grafton to Inverell Cycle Classic, the David Reed Homes event this year. And boy, oh boy, what a day we've had. Very cold conditions, very windy conditions, a breakaway. Nathan Elliott and Raphael Freinstein now are making their way to Inverell this afternoon. We are just having trouble picking up some links and some exposure to the live feed coming to you across the tablelands here. It's been a very windy day, a very cold day for the riders, a lot of damage done, not only in Division 1 in our NRS event, but right through the other grades. Lots of shrapnel early on coming up the Gibraltar range. We expected that. A lot of windy conditions, a lot of trees, limbs, sticks all over the road. So a very tough day at the office for these riders in each and every grade. The women, of course, are racing in Division 3, also having trouble. But this afternoon we're about to see the NRS event come into Inverell. Here into Vivian Street, you can see the crowd starting to build behind me, and a lot of excitement and anticipation for this breakaway that's been leading for most of the way. And they're coming in now to Inverell this afternoon. They've gone past Wye Gully. Nathan Elliott taking the KOM there, the last KOM of the day. And then the last final sprint is going to be here into Vivian Street. We started down in Grafton this morning. It was a beautiful morning, a bit sunny, like we're seeing now in Inverell. But trust me, across the day and across the tablelands here today, it's been very cloudy, very windy. And finally, the wind's starting to break through and move some of this cloud away. The riders started with 17 teams in the NRS event. 350 people across the race event today across the three grades, including the women's from the Regional Australia Bank Grafton to Inverell Defems. So that's another great part of our event. And this afternoon we're looking to see some live action coming here into Inverell when the boys get closer to town. Here we have some action throughout the day from last year, from 2017. Lots of anticipation over Patrick Lane trying to repeat after Vanderploeg last year, taking the main honour into Inverell. Now we can see Caden Groves pushing along quite nicely. This was the action from 2017. Vanderploeg getting the better over his teammates. It was a surprise win for Paul Vanderploeg. We spoke to Patrick Lane down in Grafton this morning about his disappointment from last year. And Patrick Lane this year on a new team looking to try and go one better and to take out this prestigious event. Paul Vanderploeg and the Isaway team having a great result in 2017. Let's see how it goes. We spoke to Steve Price from the Bennelong Swiss Wellness team in Grafton this morning about the hopes and potentials of their riders. Nathan Elliott, second in 2016. That was the year that Patrick Lane won, and he was third in 2013. So Nathan Elliott, a repeat customer here at the Grafton to Inverell Cycle Classic, and Nathan Elliott is now putting himself into a very interesting position out on the road. If we can get some live stream pictures for you soon, we will show. The Grafton to Inverell Cycle Classic has been running for 58 years, and we know of Jack Griffin, who participated and rode in the inaugural event in 1961. Boy, oh boy, were conditions tough and different back then when the event first got off the ground. Later on, after Jack was passing, they named the Wye Gully Hill the Grindle Griffin Climb after the very famous Jack Griffin took part in the event in 1961 and then went on to serve as a committee member for 30 years, which included 25 years as race director. Lots of different road conditions back then in the earlier days. Jack Griffin last raced the race at the age of 71 in 2003, and Jack owned a local bike shop here in Byron Street in Inverell for 32 years. This race has been nostalgic and historic, not only for the town of Grafton, with the start down there in the Clarence Valley, but also here for the Inverell Township. Jack was later honoured in 2003 with Order of Australia medal for his efforts and contribution to cycling, not only as a competitor, but as an administrator. A rich history and one of our classics here on the NRS calendar for 2018, but starting back in the early years of 1961, it's got a rich history and a great heritage, and I think the riders of these days and this era treat it with a lot of respect. Local community coming out, and we are having radio broadcast with intermittent reception throughout the day over all the grades, and it's great to see the public come down here and take part in the David Reed Holmes 2018 edition of this Cycle Classic. And we spoke to the riders in Grafton this morning as well, our first NRS event of the season. An exciting opportunity, I guess, for teams to look at other teams and other riders. And even Cyrus Monk mentioning that there are several individuals that will be racing today. Troy Herfoss, a man who made a name for himself at the National Championships in that very aggressive breakaway. He's racing today in Division 1 in our NRS event. And so is Peter Molostic, the Sydney rider from the Penrith Cycling Club, a very well-known cyclist, probably giving a lot of these young NRS boys a big head start in age. But Peter Molostic, very well respected and very well known in Australian cycling. And he again is racing as an individual today here at the David Reed Holmes Grafton to Inverell. Hopefully soon we'll be picking up more live images for you from the boys out on the road, coming down through Dodds Lane. They turn and go into Elsmore, a little detour for the riders before they come to Inverell. And then once they come back out of Elsmore Road, boy oh boy, it will be a fast run here into town. If Nathan and Raphael can stay away from that chase group, it will be an exciting finish. And as we've mentioned earlier, Nathan Elliott from the Bennelong Swiss Wellness Cycling Team is really keen to make his impression on this year's event really count. We are starting to see some images come through from our Moto Live link. If we can bring that to you in a couple of moments with the sketchy reception out this way, we certainly will. Through the feed station today on top of the very windy Gibraltar Range near the Prison Farms section. We spoke to some of the St George Continental teams. Now they had a great roster for this event, including Ryan Kavanagh, including Caden Groves and Ben Dybel as well. And the St George team manager, very confident and speaking about their intent and their race plans for today. We didn't get to catch up with their riders in Grafton this morning in that beautiful Saturday morning sunlight. But not only Ryan Kavanagh, but also Morgan Smith. Very keen today to be in that breakaway. We are unclear if he was able to do that. And also Ryan Thomas. Last year rode with the Oliver's Real Food Racing team. But this year now, Ryan Thomas, he's an Inverell boy. He rides with the late build Cobra 9 team based out of Brisbane, the Brisbane Continental team. And he's on his way home, really, and making his way back to Inverell. Some images here coming to you of this breakaway coming through Glen Innes just earlier this afternoon. Drapac Education first rider there at the back. It might be Oliver Kent Spark. Just trying to see the number there for you. The boys taking on feed, and Nathan Elliott there taking on his feed bag as well. One of the St. George boys there is in that break. Nice feed zone through Glen Innes. Lots of winter or autumn leaves on the ground from all the trees. There is Raf Freinstein from the Inform team. And there's number 31 on screen as they went through Glen Innes. That is Jesse Feitenby from Albury Wodonga. I think the other St. George rider may well have been Caden Groves, so the St. George boys might still have someone there, but Raf Freinstein and Nathan Elliott again attacking that little group as they went to the Wire Gully climb. And Nathan Elliott there getting the last climb of the day on Jack Griffin Hill through Wire Gully. And they should well be into the Elsmore section now, coming closer to Inverell. Thank goodness the weather is starting to warm up and the sunshine breaking through for the crowds here this afternoon for a beautiful finish. The 2018 David Reed's home, Grafton to Inverell. It started in sunshine and it looks like, folks, it's going to finish in sunshine. Our new naming rights sponsor, David Reed Homes, coming on board this year. We spoke to Ken down in Grafton. He got our event started for us, and he's made the trip down from Queensland to, and he'll help Mayor Paul Harmon present the jersey this afternoon and the presentations to our winners here in Vivian Street once we do actually find out who that winner is. We're going to take a little break now and throw to our Let's Ride program that Cycling Australia is right behind.
Learning to ride is a rite of passage, but learning to ride safely is a skill that our children need to be taught as they grow and gain independence. With 1.9 million Australian kids riding their bikes every week, Cycling Australia has introduced a national junior riding program called Let's Ride that teaches children how to ride safely.
I just like getting outdoors and just having fun, and for me a bike is the best way for doing that.
It's teaching me how to be a better bike rider.
The best thing is that I've learnt more skills and I'm becoming a better rider.
I like the way it feels when you're going fast and like the wind in your face, and I like the way how it's fun but it's good for you at the same time.
I like having the practicing for like the slow race, and I like going doing all the courses, and it's really fun.
From what I've seen, it'll boost his confidence on the bike, and that's going to be a good thing if he gets out on the road and what have you in the future, and I hope he does.
Okay, we have a chasing group of 5 trying to catch the lead 2 riders that are just attacking over the Wire Gully Hill, which we are hearing through broken reception here coming into Inverell this afternoon. There's a big crowd gathering in Vivian Street. And after the Jack Griffin climb, we will be awarding this afternoon the Jack Griffin Memorial Shield to the race winner. But who that race winner will be at the moment is very unclear. We can't get the images and the live feed through to the cameras and the screens, which we would like to, but that'll be coming through in a few moments' time. Nathan Elliott from the Bennelong Swiss Wellness team trying to go quite aggressive to go one better than his 2016 result of 2nd place. Steve Price saying this morning in Grafton, Nathan is one of that team's real big chances and real big hopes. And Nathan is proving this afternoon after we saw him earlier on the Glen Innes feed zone section, taking on some more nutrition and some more hydration for himself, that he would be very much a danger man this afternoon coming into Inverell for the David Reed Holmes 58th edition of the Grafton to Inverell Cycle Classic. We are getting broken radio communications coming into the crowd here this afternoon that is starting to line the Vivian Street finish line area. And the 2-person breakaway is being chased by a 5-person group, a small group chasing these 2 boys up front, chasing and racing still for 3rd place. 3,382 metres of climbing today across this race course. The 58th edition, and the wind chill factor and the cool temperatures along the course today. We've spoke to many spectators about the conditions and the race for the boys, and it's been a tough day at the office. But now Nathan Elliott and Raphael Freinstein are starting to make their way down into Inverell. You can hear they are starting to cat and mouse with each other and make their way to Inverell. We are starting to see lead vehicles in our finishing straight area. So a nice indication that the riders are not too far away. 3rd place competition behind these boys will be exciting. And plenty to race for still after 228 kilometres in tough windy conditions and cool temperatures across the top. There we see Elliott in front and Raphael Freinstein from the Inform team sitting there. So they're talking about cat and mouse tactics. You can see Freinstein making his way across to the left-hand side of the road. I don't know if they're back out of Elsmore Road yet and on the descent into Inverell, but they are looking back because the 5 chase group is not too far back. We don't have time gaps yet for these 2 boys. But you can see the 80k ahead. We are coming down to the famous Inverell Sapphire sign rolling into town. So this is the descent into Inverell. Nathan Elliott there, number 5, looking to go to the top step this afternoon. A tough day. Pedaling downhill, Raf still intent to do some of the pace setting at the front. They come down into Inverell, they go past the RSM club, the Clay Target shoot area on their left. And as they come down into the 50k zone, that's when the real tactics will start from these 2 boys. They just need to maintain this gap. A chasing group, we saw the smaller group in Glen Innes at the feed zone. These 2 broke away at the Wire Gully climb and over the Jack Griffin Hill. A big field started this morning, and these are the last 2 riders left out of 17 teams entered and a solid Division 1 field. Our first NRS event of the season, a big tester after the National Championships earlier in Victoria. This is the first one of 2018 where we can really have a look and see who is in form. And one man who is in form at the moment is that young man there on camera. Raphael Freinstein. Nathan Elliott just waiting, just poising himself, stretching the legs out They've probably been very cold today. You can see that Nathan now has the sleeves off, the jackets off. Raphael looking over his shoulder, watching for the shadows, watching for the poised Nathan Elliott from the Brunswick Cycling Club based out of Victoria. And Steve Price will be willing him along to the finish line. Pricey is really excited for his team to come onto the top step this afternoon here in Vivian Street. A long shot there from our images down Vivian Street, back towards the east end of town. And a big group, a big crowd forming here in Vivian Street underneath the David Reed Holmes finish arch for the finish. Coming very, very quickly, and very soon we'll see the lead cars turn into this street. A two-man race from a long way out. I think it's about 200, maybe 260 metres from that last turn where they come into Vivian Street. We have a big group finish coming just behind these lead two riders. Hopefully they can hold on, but they are chasing very, very hard coming down here into Inverell in the NRS Division 1 race. It's very windy still, quite breezy through Vivian Street. I know the sun's come out and it's warmed up just a little bit this afternoon here in Inverell. It was very cold throughout the course. We're going to hear plenty of stories about tough conditions. The peloton is chasing very hard. We're hearing through broken radio communication to come towards this turn. We still haven't seen the two boys turn into Vivian Street just yet. Here comes the police vehicle though into view. Lots of cat and mouse coming into town here. There's the police vehicle escorting the boys, but they are chasing very hard. This peloton and this group, are they trying to attack the group now and come for these two riders? Here they come. This is where the real tactics. Nathan Elliott from the Benelong Swiss Wellness team, a big lead out, and it's very obvious here that the group is catching. Nathan Elliott will have to get a move on if he wants to go to the top step. He was second in 2016, but there is plenty of chasers, plenty of intent coming from the peloton. No wonder the crowds come down here. I think they're going to hold on though. I think they'll laugh. Here comes Raphael. Here comes Nathan. Nathan Elliott. Nathan Elliott now going from the Benelong Swiss Wellness. Oh, it's too close. It might be Nathan. Nathan has gone one better. Third place might be 132. We'll wait and confirm that. Boy, oh boy, they said they were getting clear, but the peloton, after coming over Wire Gully, has really started to close down on those front two riders. Boy, oh boy, he celebrated after and then quickly had to jump on the grates. Raphael Feinstein, Elliott holding him against the barriers there and making sure he wasn't going to step out, he wasn't going to come back too quickly across the road. Convoy of cars coming into Inverell and Vivian Street around the roundabout and coming into town to marshal up and celebrate the win here. The first NRS event of the 2018 season, the David Reed Holmes 58th edition of the Grafton to Inverell Cycle Classic. I think Nathan Elliott has done it. What a great day. 350 cyclists, a big NRS field, 17 teams. They said it was bound to be a thrilling race and a tough race. Well, I think it's coughed up and been just that. Nathan Elliott, he's been on the podium a couple of times. Steve Price spoke about his intent, and definitely his intention here today to make it a great one. And I think we've seen him deliver. Local radio broadcasts and commentators following the race, not being able to see the action from front on, but as we saw it here in Vivian Street, it was very, very close. That peloton it grew and grew in numbers. We didn't really get a lot of image of that as they were coming through Wire Gully, and then they went down Dodds Lane into Elsmore. But boy, oh boy, coming out of Elsmore and Elsmore Road back onto the Inverell Highway here into town, they must have really pulled the trigger and really started to swap off and bring these two boys back. You see Raphael Freinstein from the Inform team congratulated there, and good sportsmanship on display too from Nathan Elliott. Those two boys surviving, and some congratulations there, some well-earned congratulations for those boys this afternoon here in Inverell. For David Reed Holmes, Nathan Elliott has gone one better this year. Top step. He was second in 2016, but there is plenty of chase. The police vehicles, they weren't quite sure how fast these riders were coming behind them, and you can see in the background there in the peloton, they had to go. They could see the boys coming. Nathan just goes to the left-hand shoulder of Rap and comes for the line, and very, very close as the peloton was approaching. Yes, I think he just did get it. And then he punches the air and celebrates. The big crowd here in Vivian Street, Inverell, watching him finally get the inevitable Grafton to Inverell Cycle Classic, his name on that coveted trophy. And this afternoon he'll take the Jack Riffin Memorial Shield on the top step. And Steve Price and the Bennelong Swiss Wellness team, they will be all very, very pleased with Nathan finally achieving his dream goal of winning this NRS event. Great to see a big crowd this afternoon here support this first NRS event of the season. We'll have to check on third place. That was a very, very close contest. That big peloton group chasing very quickly and coming. We saw plenty of Mobius jerseys in there, and Drapac as well, chasing very hard towards the finish line to try and catch those two. But as Nathan looked over his shoulder and saw the peloton coming, he knew he had to step out off the wheel of Freinstein and make sure that he started to sprint, because the speed of the peloton and the sprinters and the big bunch chasing was very intent on trying to take that win from him. We will try and interview some of the riders soon and get down to talk to our winner here in Inverell this afternoon. But the David Reed Holmes Grafton to Inverell Cycle Classic has yet again delivered a fantastic result, and a very challenging race and a very interesting race across a tough and windy course. I don't think the course record will be in threat today with the windy conditions we saw coming across in our vehicles, but certainly a tough day and a deserved winner for Nathan O'Neill yet again. There's our media car coming through and getting out of the way. Raphael Freinstein from Inform trying to hold off Elliott, but the determination of the Bennelong Swiss Wellness boy gets him the win. He'll get his NRS campaign off to a great start with a great classic and plenty of points there. So let's wrap it up and we'll come and see some of the riders and interview them after a tough day.